Why don't you talk to your once best friend anymore? I have a daughter with a genetic disorder who was really sick when she was born, which was shocking to everyone because we had no idea anything was wrong. As we were processing and grieving, she, ex-best friend, told me my mom and me think that she's, my daughter, a punishment from God for your past sins. He met his current girlfriend and slowly started neglecting his friends, instead hanging out with his girlfriend. Now it may sound petty, but I had known this guy for nearly 20 years from the first day of school. This girl also seemed to change him as a person, becoming a lot more spiteful and depressed. The straw that broke the camel's back for me was when I invited him to the pub for my birthday. Less than an hour before we were due to meet up, he texted me saying he was ill and couldn't make it. I said, "Oh, that's cool, man. If you are ill, I won't force you to come out." So I went out and met the rest of my friends at the pub. A couple of hours later, I see him and his girlfriend, and some of her friends, coming out of another pub close by. I confronted him then and there. I was slightly drunk at this point, so I did not hold anything back. It ended with me saying I was just freaking done trying with him and that he was not worth my time anymore. That was the last time I spoke to him, coming up on a year since that point. You know what they say about how you don't always burn your bridges, but rather let them fall apart due to structural decay? That's pretty much it. I fired him, not as my friend. I employed him to help him out, and ended up needing to let him go. He wants nothing to do with me now. Don't work with friends. Let him move in because of issues at his home. Started missing money and found used syringes in my freaking shoes. When I realized the only thing we had in common was the past. That sucked. She was maid of honor in my wedding. After, I would try to make plans with her for lunch or whatever, and she always cancelled the day of. Never gave a reason, just "Oh, I forgot, I can't." Some other time. I realized I was the only one putting in any effort, so I just stopped trying to do things with her. I figured if she wanted to do something, she'd get a hold of me. I got married in July of this year. Haven't heard from her since. She's toxic. Another friend of mine described her as an energy sucker, which I found to be really accurate. She always has to have attention from men, even if that means causing needless drama to get them to focus on her. She's difficult to deal with because of this need for attention. I love her, and she knows me better than 98% of the people in my life, but as we've gotten older, her adult mode hasn't clicked on while mine has, and it's hard for me to spend time with her because our priorities are so different now. My high school best friend got into college around 6 months before me. It happens in my country. She then stopped talking to me altogether. When I finally got into college, she decided it was too shameful to hang out with someone who was 6 months behind her. She'd still talk and go out with other friends from HS, but I was completely ignored by her. She had a baby, and then one day we were having lunch and she told me, "You know, I only want to hang out with other moms from now on." I didn't quite get the hint, but she ignored all my texts and emails for a few months, and I finally realized what she was trying to tell me back there. He cut me out of his life. He was my best friend for 15 plus years. We had grown a bit apart due to different lifestyle choices, but we always spoke at least once a week and found time to spend with each other. He was constantly talking about feeling stuck in our hometown and wanting to explore the world, but worried about paying for it. About 2 years ago, I helped him get a job with my company. It was not a very exciting job, but it paid twice as much as he was making before, so I figured it would help him save up for traveling. About 6 months into the job, we were working together and got into an argument. We had fought a few times in our friendship, and this did not seem any different than other times. I was over it by the time I went home. He missed the next 2-3 days of work, then emailed our manager saying he quit. He removed me from all of his friends lists, and will not respond to phone calls, text messages, or emails. I admit I am not the easiest person to get along with at times, but after a 15-year relationship, I would have liked to at least said a proper goodbye. It has been 18 months since he's talked to me. He was my guy, and now most days I feel alone. He became a domestic abuser. Started hitting his girlfriends in high school. No thanks. He slept with my girlfriend and sold his sister's virginity to a guy for $100. I realized that I was the only one really giving my all in our friendship. She didn't care and didn't bother. I was sort of a filler friend to her. The worst part was she laughed along when someone else made fun of me. Sometimes I kinda miss the times we shared, but I guess I needed to be better to myself. He tried to strangle another friend in an argument over whether PC or console was better for RPGs. His junkie girlfriend who was on probation stole $300 from me and abused my cat. My former friend refused to believe she could do such a thing and got peed off at me about it. Former friend decided that free BJs and housekeeping from the junkie on probation outweighed 20+ years of friendship with me. I left the Mormon Church. I lost many friends the moment they found out I left. I even lost a Christian friend because at least as a Mormon I believed in the Bible. Now he doesn't know who I am or what I believe anymore. I have new friends now, but most of my Mormon friends treat me like I died. Because she calls me on the phone every few months when she's alone and has had a few beers. That's pretty much eliminated the need for other conversation. I messaged her a story about an interesting and relevant event in my life today and she ignored it. I got sober. I never realized how fast friends can drop you until I wasn't up for smoking M all day and getting drunk every night. He died earlier this year, on my birthday. I miss you, and I love you, Brad. Long story short, I love the guy. I wish we saw each other more often, but he's the flakiest, most unreliable person I know. He treats everyone like they're barely worth his time. Make plans with a guy and it's a coin toss whether he'll even show up. I've known him for 10 years and it's only gotten worse, but I learned long ago that it's a waste of time to chase him. Her boyfriend didn't like her hanging out with other guys. Made her block me and all of her other male friends on social media. No idea if they're still together, but she hasn't contacted me at all since so. He fricked my wife. We grew apart. I needed emotional support during a very tough time and she wasn't interested in helping, so I ended it. Her brother sexually assaulted me at the age of 12 while I was sleeping on a mattress on the floor of her bedroom and she was sleeping in her bed 2 feet away. Her mom emotionally blackmailed me into not telling my mom, read me a clearly dictated apology letter, had him come and say sorry to me, more like his feet. When I eventually caved and told my mom, and she crapped all over his mom, I was somehow the guilty party. Then again, this was a woman who put a 6-year-old on a diet because she was chubby. She wasn't. I feel she doesn't want to talk to me. What would happen if I stop initiating conversations? Many months later, haven't heard a single word from her. She'd only really message me if she wanted something. If she was down I'd try my best, but if I was upset it was oh I'm really not in the right place right now. Talk later, which is fair enough, but I always tried to help her. She'd also message me screenshots of the argument with her boyfriend. They're a crap couple and my advice is always either dump him or talk it out, which is never what she wants to hear, but what am I supposed to do about it? I guess she just wants validation. She's right to be annoyed, but she can be really unreasonable sometimes. Oh, and then she asks for money under some bull's pretense and then buys weed. I know I shouldn't fall for it and I've stopped now, but you know. She died unexpectedly 2 months before she turned 18. I was devastated and have not had many friends since. She was toxic, always one-upping me, comparing us and making herself feel better about her appearance, always leaving me for other best friends and telling them all of my personal crap. The list goes on. He got addicted to League and stopped talking to anybody. She flipped and went Super Saiyan because I had the audacity to make plans with another friend and invite her, instead of making plans with her first then inviting my other friend. She then pinned me to a chair and started screaming in my face. That's the day I fired my maid of honor and booted her from my life. She then smashed my car window that night. Frick, my life is better without that B. Stage 4 colon cancer. By the time we all found out it was only a matter of about a month before he was gone. I deserve this one. I set a good girlfriend up with a close guy friend. Then he started cheating on her. He thought since I was his mate he could tell me and I wouldn't tell her. Except, she was my friend too. I ended up basing my decision on a personal experience where an ex had cheated and everyone knew except me. How devastated and betrayed I had felt. So I told her the truth. She confronted him and his reply, crap, don't listen to Miss Shake. She's just freaking jealous. just played matchmaker to get closer to me, etc. She believed him. So did my circle of friends on her side and his side. I never quite got over that. She died. This was 16 years ago when we were 16. Still wonder what she would be like as an adult. I wonder what I would be like if I still had her in my life. I'm so different than the person I was when I was 16. I also think about her parents a lot. They weren't the happiest people in the world even before they lost her. I hope her younger brother is okay. Moved a long distance away and just sort of grew apart. He became a huge pothead and I became a huge drunk. Kinda funny how those can separate us. Being around her became very draining. She was my best friend since kindergarten. She was never able to talk about anyone but herself, and eventually, the only jokes she'd make were severely self-depreciating, about her weight, her depression, all her flaws. Serious things that I could not laugh about and brought the mood down every time. She had social anxiety, so we were never able to go out and make new experiences together. And while I tried so hard for so many years to keep her actively included in group activities, she just did not cooperate, but complained when I didn't do it. All of our conversations ended up "remember when we did this," half laughing at stale, decade-old in jokes, and playing single-player video games that she wouldn't share. I was supposed to think watching is just as fun. It worked like this our whole lives. We're 20 now. Her goal is to never leave her parents' house and be on welfare the rest of her life. They enable this. I basically ghosted when we graduated high school. I feel terrible, but I felt worse when I had to look after her. My high school best friend. We weren't very alike at all. Anna was this super bubbly and cheerful feminine girl, and I was a sarcastic pile of nerd in vaguely human form, a kind of geek tomboy. We actually meshed pretty well, but from the get-go, she was the kind of person who turned up to parties on the wrong day because she'd get mixed up. Her parents didn't like me much, because I was into heathen stuff like Lord of the Rings. Anna couldn't form an opinion if it wasn't exactly the same as her dad's. I remember in 2006, she argued vehemently that there was no future in IT, because her dad said it was a waste of time. Facts didn't matter if her dad didn't like them. We stayed close until after school ended, and since our birthdays were only a week apart, we always had a combined party. 3 weeks before my 18th, I got tickets to a convention. I called her that day to let her know that we'd have to do separate parties. I asked if she wanted to come to the con with me. She said no, not her thing. Cool, literally the day my group is going, she calls to ask when she can expect us around to her place for the party and ice skating. I remind her that we're going to the con. She loses her crap at me, gets real nasty over the phone and hangs up. Calls everyone else to try to convince them to ditch the con and come to hers. They all say no. She calls my parents and tries to get them to stop me from going and tells them I'm on drugs. Yeah, no. Went, but the whole thing was soured by her reaction. I don't think she ever spoke to me again herself, but I'd often meet people in my social circles who treat me like trash because of what you did to Anna. Took ages for people to stop thinking I was a complete and utter B. Maybe they just grew up. Either way, bit of a crap end to a 6-year friendship. He was taken to a mental hospital, and the drugs they give him make him a completely different person. He did a bunch of weird things, lies, being creepy with other people's girlfriends, after breaking up with his GF, who's a friend with all my other friends, and so I confronted him about it and he resents that I did that. I think he just went into panic mode, thinking that people were talking about him, the ex being so closely entwined in our social circle, and it all got out of hand. She quit being my friend towards the end of our senior year of high school. We went to a small school where there was a homecoming coronation for everything. She wanted to be band queen really badly, but I won. Not because I campaigned or anything, but probably because I was the band president, the only senior girl in jazz band, and hung out with some of the younger kids because I have a younger brother and they were in jazz with me. Even though her mom was mad at me for winning it, even though I literally did nothing. It was just a vote of all the band kids. I wasn't about to apologize for it either, because it wasn't my fault and it's a really stupid reason to cut off your best friend. Now almost 10 years later, I still don't regret not apologizing, but it does kind of make me sad that I don't talk to anyone from high school anymore. But I've got much better college friends and now work friends, so I don't need that kind of negativity. He's become more and more toxic. I still love him like a brother, but every single thing he does is a cry for help or attention, then won't accept help or attention. He has become your stereotypical depressed, edgy atheist neckbeard teenager. I didn't realize how badly he was affecting my life until recently, after spending some time not hanging out with him but hanging out with my other friends and girlfriend. That doesn't change the fact that he's like a brother to me and I owe my life to him. I'm just not sure how to help him at this point. He begs and begs for attention and help in roundabout ways, but as soon as I try to help he completely ignores it or plays the whole "oh I'm fine dude, stop trying to help," but then the next day sends me or my girlfriend a text about how his depression is so bad. It hurts, man, it really does. All I want to do is help him, but he won't accept any and I have to sit on the sidelines as he slowly destroys his own life. To add on to all that, he is a compulsive liar, especially when telling stories of real life situations. We'll be talking and he'll be telling a story about work and we'll be all "yeah." And then I yelled "frick you" to my boss and it's just like, no you didn't, man. You can't even talk to people you've known for years because you have social anxiety. I know I haven't been the greatest friend, but I always try my best, man, I do. I think I've gotten better over the years, I really do. It's just this constant cycle of, "Hey dude, something's wrong." "What is it?" "Don't be afraid to tell me, man, it's okay." "Oh nothing dude, never mind, but there's this really hot chick at my new job." Then he proceeds to ask out the girl after a month or so. He's a nice guy, you know, but he's also a nice guy, so things go south and then he gets super depressed after a rejection. Walked in on him moments after he was finished freaking my now ex-girlfriend in my room. Karma was nice though. He blew out his knee and can no longer play his sport professionally. I lost a lot of weight, and she found most of it because I abused his love, kindness and support. I was in a terrible place in my life and had an emotionally abusive ex that I couldn't stay away from, and I would drop my friend every time the ex would take me back. I was terrible to him. What really sucks is that I think somewhere deep down I was a little bit in love with my friend, but I never ever thought he would feel the same, and so I ended up being freaking awful to him. I actually dreamed about him last night. I think I'm going to send an apology email. We casually talk now, but I think I need to suck that poison out of my life still. We were friends, and then dated, and then now we're not friends. You have been visited by the money frog. He says frog money to get $200 on the street. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day, you magnificent people.